A scanner, people wonder why you'd have it. We use radio communications, obviously, to make sure the team is safe, first of all. Safety is paramount. And also, we record all our conversations through this. So we know an exact timeline of where everybody is. Say Team Alpha is in the drawing room, and Team Bravo is in an upstairs bedroom. We know when, say, Bravo is coming down at 1:13 a.m., and then the other team hears footsteps. Like, well, if you look back on the recording, you'll find Team Bravo was moving at that time, so there debunks it. So it's just another tool. Mm-hmm. And maybe we'll pick something up on it. Maybe we'll pick up an EVP, but I don't really think so. And we've got different types of thermometers, obviously. We've got this non-contact thermometer, which is a surface thermometer. It has laser and backlight, so wherever you point at it tells you what its temperature is. Right now, that's 74 degrees Fahrenheit. These are very good for trying to find a draft in a room, trying to measure any object's temperature, see if there's any variations, fluctuations in it. But the most important thermometer we have would be this, which is our environmental meter. This measures the air temperature of the room. And obviously this one came over from Ireland, so it's in Celsius. So we have to change it over to, say, 71.6 air temperature right now. It uses a Type K thermocoupler at the end to measure the atmosphere. Along with that, it also measures relative humidity. So right now we're at 41.4 relative humidity, give or take. The reason behind that is not from the classic idea that ghosts have cold spots or ghosts create hot spots or anything like that. It's more down to the feeling of the effect it'll have on your body. If the temperature goes down, the relative humidity goes up, your hairs are going to stand up in the back of your neck. You're going to get a strange feeling down your back. You ever hear the term, there's someone walking on my grave? Mm-hmm. Really creepy feeling? That's a temperature change. So if someone's having that sort of an experience, we're going to see the chart of the relative humidity and temperature that's gone down and up, and then say, well, that's likely the cause of that happening in there. We also measure light with a separate attachment, which is good just to make sure that our cameras are sending out the right amount of illumination to illuminate a room. And we also check the sound level in the area as well. A lot of people always wonder why we check sound. But checking sound is one of the most important things a paranormal team can do. Have you heard of infrasonics, infrasonic research?
No, that's...
Oh, it's fantastic. Infrasonics are sounds that we can't hear. They're below the threshold of human hearing. Human hearing is between 20 hertz and 20 kilohertz or 20,000 hertz. Anything above that is ultrasonic. Now, if you have an infrasonic sound, it can play havoc with your mind. Infrasonic sounds send out different vibrations that can cause different organs in your body to vibrate and resonate. It was first found in 1998 by Vic Tandy in Cambridge University, and it was found completely by accident. He was in his office, in his lab, and a ghost just appeared. You know, the classic shrouded, semi-transparent spectre type, ran at him and then disappeared. So at that stage, he called it a night and left. He came in the next morning and he had a fencing championship that day. So he had his foil in the clamp, making sure it was the right weight. And he noticed that the end of the foil was vibrating wildly. Now, there was no sound in the room that he could hear, no windows open, all the usual, you know, a sealed lab. He turned on his oscilloscope and noticed that there was a between 17 and 19 hertz infrasonic vibration going through, which it turned out to be a faulty air conditioner. Now, through his research, he found that between 17 to 19 hertz, your eyeballs resonate. So your eyeballs are starting to move. They're picking up a picture, and then they start to matrix, which is to give a shape to an object that you don't understand. It's the most common thing that we do. Like, first thing we see in the world is faces. We see them every day. Mm-hmm. So when you look at a picture, you'll see faces, and that's matrixing. So that's where that comes in. You can get feelings of dread between 5 to 8 hertz, because your stomach is starting to go nuts and starting to resonate. And then there's different feelings. On our website, we have a whole list of the different ranges and different hertz that will cause different things on you. So we always look for infrasound when we go to a site. Now, we can pick up a little bit with that, but with the Olympus digital recorder, which obviously we use for EVPs, and dropping, which obviously we use for EVPs primarily, but we also do it to check the sound profile of a seemingly quiet room. And if we find on the spectrograph that there's a lot of infrasonics in there, and people have said they see things, then that's the first thing we go to. We start shutting down power systematically to find what's causing it, shut it off for a week and say, have the ghosts gone? And we found that they do. Ghosts can be turned off by electricity. Another thing is our Geiger counter. A lot of teams don't use these, but they're a very good thing to have, especially for safety of your team. You don't want to be going into a radiation-lit building. It measures rads per hour, and it measures very quickly. So right now we have 0. Fantastic. We have no background radiation going on here, or at least minimal enough that the machine won't pick it up. So it is safe. But radiation can, again, play havoc on your internal, your nervous system. It can play havoc with your brain and cause you to see and feel things that aren't there as well. So it's another tool to try to find a natural explanation for something.
Now, will that pick up radon?
It will not pick up radon. No, we need a radon meter for that, and that one's actually on order for us right now.
But radon is a
naturally occurring gas coming up from the coming up from the ground.
Right, but isn't that also considered background radiation?
It is a background radiation, yeah. It's a very specific type. This one more looks for gamma and beta particles, which are a lot larger than obviously the gamma particles aren't larger than radon particles, but it's specifically tuned for that. It was made in the 70s for when the Cold War was going on. We were all going to be destroyed by a nuclear winter. Yeah. But the radon detector, you can buy them in any hardware store, but the one I'm looking for, it picks it up much more rapidly than the general ones that you'd buy.
Okay.
Along with that, we have personal dosimeters as well, which everyone carries with them. So it tells you how many raspberry have been ingested by your body. So usually the figure won't go up, and that's good. That means we're in a safe area. If it continues to go up, we need to get to a hospital. People wonder why, you can actually see it still has the PRAI logo on it. People wonder why we'd have a black light. There was theories going around probably about 5 to 6 years ago that using a black light can keep a ghost away from you that's intent on doing you harm. We found no proof of it, but that said, we haven't found a ghost so we can test it on yet. We can't just turn on and say, stay back. The reason we use it is to look for any sort of anomalies in the area. For instance, cat urine creates a smell, and over a long level of it, it can obviously, again, play havoc with your senses and lead to cat scratch fever and all those different things. We also use it for trigger objects. All our trigger objects are covered in a powder, so we know if they move. And if we notice a movement in the power, the next thing we do is get in the black light and check everyone's hands to just make sure no one's inadvertently touched them or moved them. Because the powder glows green under UV light, and it stays on your skin for 24 to 48 hours. So it's a good thing to have there.
What do you usually use for a trigger object?
Anything really. I found a glass ball, like a Frishugi ball, the contact juggling ball. I found that works great because it's got a good weight, it's symmetrical, and it's easy to move if a spirit is going to move it. Also, I was taking up contact juggling a while ago, and that never worked out for me. But it's a good object to use. Other good objects are anything that's in the house itself that the spirit would have a connection to, and then just kind of put that in the area with gridded paper and then put the powder over it as well. So a lot of different trigger objects, some that we bring with us and some that we use in the house itself.
Very good.